Hi, I'm Marla, and I'm an independent consultant for Usborne Books and More. And today, I want to show you how I became a straight thinker and how you can be a straight thinker too. And how Usborne Books and More can help not just your kids, but you as well. Because chances are, if you graduated from high school, you've got a huge gap in your education. But even if you didn't graduate from high school, let's say you dropped out, you have an even bigger gap in your education. So let me show you how our books can solve your problem. And how you can be a powerful force and align with me and make a difference in the lives of children for a lifetime. So ready? Let's get started. First, let me start by saying this. There's a lot of dishonest propaganda out there, and there's a lot of bias in the news today, where before it wasn't so. Because currently it used to be that there was a lot of players that made up the news media. And you had all kinds of political groups and thoughts leaders and influencers to share the news with you. So bias was almost impossible way back when, in 1930. So, but today, that's not the case. And you really need to think straight when you're listening and watching what they're putting out there. When I was younger, maybe even in the 80s, I couldn't conclude that the American press are habitually and deliberately dishonest. But today, I have a different feel for the American press. And because when they dispatch the news, you must view this news critically. And if you don't have critical thinking skills and the ability to read proficiently, on occasion, and more frequently than not today, the media, the press agencies are guilty of grossly partisan conduct as it amounts to dishonest propaganda. And these are serious facts. Because all important papers, every important news source that you get, they all depend on the information that these press agencies give. And it is this reporting that determines your attitude on the most important matters of national and national policy, including peace and war. It's important that you learn how to think clearly. And the only way that you're going to learn how to think clearly is by reading lots of books. Not by reading online, where the information that you get on Google is being censored. You need to go back to the way we used to get and gather information, which is with books. So if you have a wide knowledge, you're going to be able to pick up on the disinformation that the media is giving you, or the dishonest propaganda that you're getting today. Dishonest propaganda frequently endeavors to include well-known and respectable people or institutions as vehicles for their deceit in order to make their message carry a maximum of conviction. And today we have a lot of dishonest propaganda. It used to be that you had propaganda that actually shared an idea and you learned from it, and that is positive propaganda. But today, with the government behind almost every propaganda, democracy cannot work. Democracy only works when we have the freedom of information, the freedom to learn, the freedom from abusive narratives that are being thrown at us and spread. Let me teach you a little bit about the news and how to discover facts, okay, that will help you and illuminate you to the truth. Ask yourself always how you got the facts on which you base your opinion. Who actually saw, heard, felt, counted, named the thing about which you have an opinion? Was it the man who told you, or the man who told him, or someone still further removed? And how much was he permitted to see when he informs you that France thinks this and that? What part of France did he watch? How was he able to watch it? Where was he watched when he watched it? What Frenchman was he permitted to talk to? What newspaper did he read? And where did they learn what they said? You can ask yourself these questions, but you can rarely answer them. And they remind you, however, of the distance which often separates your public opinions from the event with which it deals. And this is a reminder in itself, is a protection. Because these questions will serve to put us on guard against statements from such ambiguous sources as responsible officials like AOC or Pelosi or Ted Cruz, high authorities like J-Lo and Alyssa Milano, a person close to the administration, a dispatch from Copenhagen, and the like. For here it is plainly impossible to distinguish fact from rumor and dishonest propaganda. 5 tests that you can make to determine whether this is good propaganda or dishonest propaganda. First, shun your practice of reading headlines, which can be misleading. Second, read carefully the material on subjects which seem to us to be important, if we think it is material which needs to be taken seriously. Third, we should hear and read accounts of subjects of our study from sources whose views we may expect to clash. Those like President Trump or Michael Moore, or periodicals like CNN and the Daily Wire. This will safeguard against dishonest propaganda. But we still need to go a little further. Like when you have a passage from an appropriate legislation, we have enjoyed thus far the protection of laws against slander and libel, although in recent years, slander and libel has upped the radar. And you're gonna get dishonest propaganda. But there's another defense. And I'm gonna leave you just with one final theme of propaganda. Schools can do a lot to help children learn how to discern truth. And it is important that teachers help in instruction regarding the sources and form of dishonest propaganda. Because schools do reach the young people while their habits and thoughts are still being formed. So they afford, therefore, a practical place in which to develop those habits of scientific thinking, which are an invaluable protection against falsehood. And if you want to learn more, please comment below. And that's for a different video.